When it comes to animated movies of the 90s, Disney was king. More than that, that mouse was an emperor. Hunchback, Tarzan, Beauty and the Beast, and even though it didn't do well in theaters at the time, a Goofy movie, they were all certified bangers. At worst, you got Fantasia 2000, which, little fun fact for you, was the first animated movie to be shown in IMAX, so at least it did something. And The Rescuers Down Under, and I like that movie, I don't care what anyone says. It's the reason we call this the Renaissance age of animation, because it was Disney's renaissance. Sometimes other studios and movies just didn't get the attention they deserved at the time. Now, there are some fantastic movies from other studios that did give Disney a run for their money, but there are many more that just couldn't get out of that mouse's shadow. And of course, there are many other factors that attribute to the overshadow. A troubled production, little faith from the studio, poor advertising, etc. And because of these circumstances, sometimes the wider audiences just missed out on some real gems. And said gems don't get the love they should. And we're gonna talk about one of those gems. One of my favorite movies as a child that I'll stand till this day.
To this day! To this day!
A film that dares to ask the question, what happened to all those animals who didn't land a role in Fantasia? So let's hop in the Wayback Machine, because today we're talking 1997's Cats Don't Dance.
I want everyone to have all the fun that I have.
Hollywood loves Hollywood. Shocker, I know. And it especially loves the golden age of Hollywood. You hear people nowadays complain when cartoons get, quote, too meta, too topical, it's dated, blah, blah, blah. But this has been happening since cartoons began cartooning. Albeit, they did it better, but let's call a spade a spade. I mean, look at Looney Tunes. A large part of their shtick was spoofing Hollywood of the time, and that bled a lot into the cartoons of the late 80s, early 90s, like Tiny Toon Adventures and Animaniacs. This really was WB's bag in the 90s. Anyways, it was a big field during that time. In steps Cats Don't Dance, a love letter to that golden age of Hollywood, both the good and a bit of the bad. This is a classic Hollywood movie with modern 90s sensibilities. A Tex Avery-style love letter to that old Hollywood. I mean, this movie gets a bit zany at times, especially in the animation. Anyone who is a fan or student of animation needs to dissect this movie frame by frame to see the beauty of it. But what really makes this movie shine is how heartfelt it is. At its core, it's asking, can a dream and optimism prevail over a cynical reality that doesn't want you to? Our hero Danny, played by Scott Bakula, is a small town tabby with dreams of making it big. When he first steps foot into Hollywood, it seems almost magical. Sunbeams are bathing the town, everything is sparkling, the streets literally seem to be made of gold. It's the idealized version of Hollywood, and Danny is ready to make his mark, even having a 5-day plan to make it big by Friday.
Well, that's how it worked for you, right?
Oh, sure, right.
Why not Thursday?
On the flip, we got Sawyer, played by Jasmine Guy. She's been here for a while, and the weight of the world has worn her down.
I'm wearing you down, baby. I'm wearing you down.
She's cynical, sarcastic, and disenchanted with the reality of chasing the entertainer's dream. And she provides a great opposite to Danny's naivete. It's a yin to his yang, a pessimist city girl to his happy-go-lucky small-town boy. And it's a theme that prevails throughout the story, these opposites of sorts. And it's best showed off midway through the movie in the musical number Animal Jam. Danny learns a bit of the backstories of the animals around him, how they all had dreams of making it big, even Sawyer. Danny just wants to reignite that spark within everyone by having a little jam session in the back alley. As you do. Danny, believing in his dream, is literally brighter than everyone around him. The battered and beaten down by life animals are all washed out with faded colors. When Danny gets them to join in his song, you see the colors slowly come back into their lives as they start to remember their dreams, how it felt to perform, and why they love it, even if for a fleeting moment. It's such a simple yet effective way to get the inner feelings of these animals across to the viewer. Sawyer, in all her skepticism, is the only holdout. Again, artists should study this film. I mean, look at this gag, how she fixed it. Oh my God, I love it. She's having the hardest time of giving in, but we start to see flashes of her old self. This dingy, gloomy back alley transforms into the brightest, most colorful stage, and just for an instant, nothing else matters. Nothing but enjoying how it feels to perform. But, ever the pessimist, Sawyer breaks away. returning the world to a more drab color. Danny doesn't want to give up on her, because that's who he is. He sees the best in everything and everyone, even to a fault. Enter
Darla Dimple, America's sweetheart, lover of children and animals.
Darla Dimple. Darla Dimple, played by Ashley Peldon, is the epitome of all the horror stories you've heard of beloved actors and actresses who are monsters in real life. She's petty, selfish, scheming, and she knows she can pretty much get away with whatever she wants. An evil Shirley Temple type. Never since the Red Queen has heart shapes seemed so evil. She do got them pipes though. Can we talk about her butler Max for a second? Max has some of the best jokes in the movie. His height fluctuates from like 10 feet tall to the size of a skyscraper. He's impossibly fast or just straight up teleports. And with his and the sight gags, he's just great. I love Max. I'm pretty sure he's the progenitor for John Turturro's Emilio character in Mr. Deeds.
I fear you're underestimating the sneakiness, sir.
Is that true? Probably not, but I'm going with it. These two provide a great foil to our hero Danny. Darla knows how Hollywood truly works and knows how to take advantage of it. She uses this against Danny's trusting nature. Not only does she betray Danny, she makes sure that neither him nor the rest of the animals will ever find work again. She is truly diabolical. Danny's worldview is shattered. He realizes that it's not all sunny with streets of gold. And for everyone else who had already known this lesson and started to believe in him, it reaffirmed their place in Hollywood, which was the gutter. The general public sees animals as second class. A bus driver says they don't belong in Hollywood, but back on the farm. How does that not sound like saying black people should be back on the plantation? Especially for the time period this takes place in. The studio head, LB Mammoth, says to their face,
You animals will never.
Nibble kibble in this town again.
Man's hit them with the hard A. Listen to this again.
You animals.
And this is the crux of the allegorical themes of this film. While the animals all have dreams of performing, they're regulated to the smallest of roles. In the golden age of Hollywood, they can't break in. They don't fit the mold of those who actually made it big, and therefore, they fill the unwanted parts. Sound familiar? The reality is Hollywood, our real-life Hollywood, has a sordid history of regulating those who don't fit the mold to lesser roles. And those who don't fit the mold were people of color. Of course, there were some able to break through the barrier, to stand on even footing with the rest of Hollywood, and they paved the way for more to come. But it was few and far in between given the landscape of Hollywood at that time. And honestly, it's still an issue today to some extent. What Cats Don't Dance does so well is present this message without beating you over the head with it. It's another reason why I love this movie. And so our heroes are down bad. Danny's rose-colored glasses come off, and he starts to see Hollywood is not all sunshine and streets of gold. And for his friends who began to believe that dream again, it only reaffirmed their place in Hollywood. Sawyer, on the other hand, is starting to remember that dream that she held so dear to her. She sees it in Danny and starts to realize her feelings for him. While Jasmine Guy is the voice of Sawyer, they tap the illustrious Natalie Cole to do her singing voice. And, oh boy. I don't know what was in the water the animators of the 90s were drinking, but man, those character designs. Woof. Oh, don't you judge me. Look at these character designs and tell me I'm in the wrong. As Danny is about to leave it all behind, he goes for one last Hail Mary at the premiere of Darla Dimple's movie. After confrontation with Max is, he's a mutant. He is the goddamn juggernaut.
Yeah, it's the juggernaut, bitch.
Danny convinces his friends to not let the ones telling them they can't do it be the one to take away their dreams. And man, when he says all animal cast, it looks like someone kicked the audience's puppy. They, however, have an amazing performance. All the while, Darla is trying to sabotage them, but only really makes things better for him. And of course, she gets outed as the true villain and gets her comeuppance. Wait, is Darla an adult? I mean, I always thought she was a child actor, but no parents, lives with her butler. At the end, she's working as a janitor, which a child wouldn't do, even if it is the 30s. Is she like Gary Coleman? Anyways, everyone loves their performance, and by the end, they break down that animal barrier, and they go on to star in many beloved films. This was such a fun movie. It sucks that it was hampered by troubled production and lack of studio belief. This movie deserved to do so much better. The movie began work in 1993. David Kushner, head of Turner Animation, came up with the concept from stories of wild cats taking over the backlots of Warner Brothers Studios and living on sets such as Casablanca. The 1930s Hollywood backdrop gave rise to the anthropomorphic animal struggle to break in. Kushner once said, and I quote, "In the 1930s, it was almost impossible for anyone who looked different from the mainstream or had an accent to succeed in Hollywood, and those who did found themselves largely typecast. We wanted to refer to that struggle for recognition in this story, using the animal characters as a metaphor." End quote. Originally, it had Michael Jackson attached to produce and star in a hybrid animation live-action format, a la Who Framed Roger Rabbit. But by 1994, he had dropped out, and eventually Randy Newman was brought on for the music. They approached Gene Kelly, yes, that Gene Kelly, and brought him on as a dance choreography consultant, and it really shows in the dance numbers. The story, however, went through several iterations and was completely reworked a few times. As studio management kept changing, every head wanted something different. And in 1996, Turner merged with Time Warner and Warner Brothers took control of the project. And not seeing the value in the movie, they pushed it out the door to die. No real marketing to speak of. This movie was dead on arrival, and the $32 million movie made an abysmal $3.5 million. But I'm sure the execs knew best. I mean, it's not like Warner Brothers has been mismanaging films and shelving or outright destroying films at Testwell just to save a few bucks, right? Regardless of the fact that it barely made a blip on release, it has become a certified cult classic and is much beloved by those who grew up with it and those who are just now discovering it. Word of mouth has prevailed for so long that same studio finally gave us fans a widescreen Blu-ray release. Us old heads adore this movie, and I keep seeing newbies fall in love with these characters, and deservedly so, because this movie rocks. I cannot recommend this movie enough. Great music, fantastic animation, and heartfelt performances. Yeah, I really love this movie. But what about you? Did you watch this movie growing up or even recently? Sound off in the comments below and let us know what you think. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all our content. All right, my little cubs, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'm Gare Bear, and this was Gare Bear Stare. And until next time,
See you in the movies.